Team Racing Series returns to ETV Live on Tuesday nights following the Fast Track Racing Series radio show. After organizing a highly successful team series in 2010, Jerry Wolf is back with some kick butt, take no prisoners, team racing action like you have never seen before. The ETV Live Team Racing Series is sponsored by HD Radio Network live on Tuesday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't wimp out, dude. Catch the action live at etv-eplay.net.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Darlington Raceway here in Darlington, South Carolina, here for the ETV Live Team Series once again here on Sunday night, August 11th, 2013. Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Young here, going to be bringing you live flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's event, and joining me tonight in the booth for the first time here in the ETV Live Team Series, a new face to the ETV Live Team Series. We got Kyle Lent sitting next to me here for his first ETV Live Series race. Kyle, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really looking forward to this race. We're pretty much at the we're at the Lady in Black, and the track too tough to tame. So we'll see if these guys can get a good race in, and hopefully have a little excitement.
If you came here for excitement, Kyle, you are sure going to get your fair share of it. Each and every single week you see these guys battle it out, fender to fender, door to door, each and every single week, trying to see which team is the best. And speaking of that hard-fought action, last week we went to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for 100 laps of racing, and it was Chad Cole who picked up the victory in the drivers, but the Z-Loop Racing team ended up picking up the win here last week on ETV Live. They brought home 133 points for their team. The Crossed Out Motorsports team came home second with 116 points. Rounding out the podium, the Last Lap Motorsports guys, who just moved into the points lead after last week's event. 104 points for them in third place, beating out the Super Speedway Cup North Union by 2 points. Those guys scored 102 points. Rounding out the top five, the RSR Outlaw Trucks team, they had 89 points. Sixth place was the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel. Seventh place was the RSR Midnight Thunder team with 51 points, and the Twisty Motorsports team rounded out the field in 8th place last week with 36 points. To our point standings now, Kyle, I believe you have those up for us.
Yes, pretty much right now we got the Last Lap Motorsports, who is Brendan Leonard, Jimmy Jones, Matt Kingsbury, Nathan Lamoth, and Ray Kingsbury. They're in first place with 928 points, and only 20 points back right now is the Speedway Cup North Union. Z-Loop Racing we have in third place right now. They're 56 points back, and Crossed Up Motorsports right now in fourth. They're 95 points back. Then you have to go all the way back at 193 behind to fifth place Speedway Cup South Rebels. Sixth place is Twisty Motorsports with 241 points back from the leader. Then rounding out your top 8 here would be RSR Outlaw Trucks and then RSR Midnight Thunder.
So that is what your point standings look like heading into tonight's event at the Lady in Black. 20 points separating the lead here with about 4 races to go. The Last Lap Motorsports team just overtook and got into the points lead after last week's event, taking off former champions in the Super Speedway Cup of North Union. Taking a look back, though, that Z-Loop Racing team, that win last week definitely helped them and has probably put them back into contention to fight for this championship. They're only 56 points out, only 36 points out of that second place spot, so those guys have definitely racked up a shot at winning this championship once again. So now that we've seen that happen, we're looking at possibly 3 teams to be able to fight it out and win this championship here this season, and the action only going to get better here at Darlington Raceway. The Lady in Black, they like to call it a very interesting racetrack, and it should bring us some very exciting racing here tonight, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. You got 2 unique corners. You got turns 1 and 2, which are 25-degree banking. Then you got turns 3 and 4, which is 23-degree banking. But the difference between turn 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, turn 3 and 4 is a lot tighter, so you really got to woe that truck down getting into turn 3. Otherwise, you're going to hit that wall. The best way to get around this track is around the outside, but if you make one little mistake, you're visiting the Darlington stripe.
Indeed you will be, Kyle, and I'm sure the majority of the field here tonight is going to see that Darlington stripe on the side of their race trucks here tonight. It is a very brutal racetrack, and as they call it, too tough to tame. It is a difficult challenge to be able to come out on top here at Darlington. Taking a look at the qualifying results so far, Joshua Hanna on the 24 is currently your pole sitter at this moment with a 28.519. He has the pole over Rod Flag at the moment with a 28.548. Still a minute and a half left in qualifying for these guys to finish up the laps, and while they do that, we'll send it down trackside for the national anthem here tonight, sung by the Cactus Cuties.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The field's starting to take the grid down here on the front straightaway, and we will start going through your starting lineup as soon as we head it back down trackside for the command to start engines.
Gentlemen,
On the pole for tonight's event, as we had mentioned prior to the national anthem, he held on for that final minute and a half. Joshua Hanna in the 24 into his outside, Rod Flag in the 23, starting in second place.
Starting in the second row is going to be Matt Bontempi in that 21 car. To his outside is going to be Tony Bowling in that number 3 car, Crossed Up Motorsports.
Frank Busialia, the third in the 17, rounds out your top 5 into his outside. In the 12 is Bobby Carell.
That 20 truck of Glenn Hedrick is going to be starting 7th, and starting 8th is going to be Matt Kingsbury.
Row 5 has the 26 of Nathan Lamoth on the inside and Jeff Backey Jr. in the 13 to the outside, rounding out the top 10.
Alright, we got John Abbott in the 11th spot, and to his outside is going to be Hunter Bowles in that 29 car Speedway Cup Series.
Starting on the inside of row number 7, the 25 machine of Ray Kingsbury, to his outside, his teammate, the number 27 of Jimmy Jones, in 14th place. And Jimmy was the final truck to have taken time, 14 trucks taking time. The rest of the drivers on the grid did not qualify.
Yeah, so how we're lining up is going to be Brendan Chaburko in the 15th spot and Larry Scott Jr. in the 16th spot.
The field starts to roll off of the grid here for their one pace lap. Continuing on with the lineup, Terrence Donovan in the 22 machine is going to line up in the 17th spot with Larry Mulliken to his outside in the 1, starting in 18.
Rounding out the field is going to, in 19th place, is going to be Stephen Koch in the 14 truck. We got Sean Brown in the number 2 truck. And rounding up the field in 21st is going to be Joshua Harbison in that number 16 truck.
So as the field works their way down the back straightaway, half a lap to green flag racing here. 110 laps around the 1.36 mile 4-turn speedway at Darlington Raceway here in Darlington, South Carolina. These guys, it's going to be a very interesting start here. It's a struggle to fit 2 trucks side by side here. As you can see, it's very crammed in that racing groove. A very interesting racing groove we have here at Darlington Raceway. We'll see how quickly these guys can get spread out and single file. The pace car has pulled down on the pit road to the safety. Joshua Hanner leads the field down to green flag. We are racing here at Darlington.
And Joshua Hanner gets a really good start on the 23 truck of Rod Flag, and he heads down Terminal 1 single file, coming off turn number 2.
The field does not take long at all to single file out. The whole field single files to try to get some laps in here. Now the 23 shoots to the inside, looking to maybe possibly make a move around the 24 for the lead. He can't do that. He falls back in line. Now teammate to him, Matt Bontempi, looking to go to the inside off of turn number 4. Down the front straightaway, looking to clear into turn number 1. He will do so. Joshua Hanner holds on to lead lap number 1.
Ooh, Matt Bontempi almost hit the wall there going into turn number 1, but was able to save it there. But right now Joshua Hanner has well over a 4/10 of a second lead heading off from turn number 4.
Joshua Hanner wasting no time at all here tonight, took the pole and immediately ran away. After 2 laps, he's already over half a second ahead of Matt Bontempi in the 21 truck. That 21 truck, a part of the Super Speedway Cup North Union, who unfortunately lost the points lead last week. I'm sure they are well aware of that, and they are wanting to get that points lead back as soon as they possibly can. But just behind him, Rod Flag and the 23 teammates to him trying to fend off Frank Busialia III, an associate teammate. Now some contact with Busialia and Tony Bowling. Bowling shoots down to the inside of the track, hangs on. We stay clean and green. A little bit of bumping and grinding early here, but everybody hanging on, and we stay green flag racing for now.
Yeah, it looks like that 17 truck didn't know that Tony Bowling was down there coming off turn number 4. Either that or he just got a little bit loose and just came straight down on Tony Bowling's nose. But doesn't look like there's much contact, so no harm, no foul with that.
A little further back in the field here, truck down to the inside. I believe that is Brendan Chaburko. It is Brendan Chaburko trying to make the pass into 10th place on Jeff Backey Jr. He can't get it done. He drops back and falls back in line. A big gaggle of trucks right there, all nicely tight and packed. That's from about 6th place on back to 11th there, all running nose to tail. Nobody trying to make some passes for right now. These guys, for the most part, stay in single file, trying to get some green flag laps logged in here and to figure things out These guys turning just under 30-second lap times, anywhere from the 29 to 30-second lap time margin. So with this thing staying green flag, these laps can tick away fairly quickly. So they don't have a ton of time, if it does stay green, to figure things out with their trucks. So this green flag racing will help them figure things out to hopefully better their nights as the race goes on. But right now everybody's still single file, and it looks like actually now we got an attempt for position here. The 26 machine and Nathan Lamoth going for 7. The 20 gets into the wall, gets into his door, little sideways there. The 20 hangs on. He's going to lose a couple spots there, and now he's side by side with Jeff Backey Jr. in the 13.
Yeah, they're down the backstretch right now with the 13 trucks able to get by with taking the 19 truck along with him of Brendan Chaburko. So Glenn Hedrick losing a lot of spots there coming to the line. He went from 7th to 9th there in just one lap.
We talk about how tight this racetrack is, and it is very, very hard to run side by side here and to be able to give the guy that you're racing side by side with room without getting yourself in the wall. And unfortunately, Hedrick was a victim of that. Just up in front of these guys a little bit though, the 26 machine, Nathan Lamoth, he has gone around a couple trucks here and has put himself, I believe, in 6th place now, working his way. Yep, he has gone to 6th place, working his way around Rod Flag. So Nathan Lamoth, he started back in the 9th position. He is currently up to 6th place, and he looks like to have a very strong truck. That team taking the points lead last week. They are looking for another strong night here tonight to try to pull away from that Super Speedway Cup of North Union here as we get down to the nitty-gritty parts of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. That 26 truck looks really good right now. Glenn Hedrick, it looks like he's really loose right now. He's falling all the way back to 11. It just doesn't seem like he's able to run a consistent line with that truck. So right now it's just not handling to his liking. So we're going to really have to go down pit road, and that crew chief's going to have to think of something to get that truck fixed.
Possibly the damage there from getting into the wall just a few laps ago hurt that truck's handling a little bit. A few trucks in front of him, side-by-side racing action between Matt Kingsbury and the 23 Rod Flag. Kingsbury shoves it into the bottom in turn number 1, and he scoots on by. Rod Flag now starting to drop back a little bit, and now Jeff Backey Jr. was thinking about making the pass in the middle of the turn. He falls back in line. He just follows through here. Completed lap 10 that last time by, so we're already 100 laps left in this race. Under 100 once we hit the line this time by. And just under about 5 minutes of racing. So as you can see, once this green flag runs get going, the laps tick away fairly quickly. Just behind Jeff Backey Jr., a couple trucks side by side there. That was teammate to him. Larry Scott Jr. moved his way on around Glenn Hedrick. Hedrick still struggling. He drops back to 12th, while Larry Scott Jr. moves up to the 11th spot. Brendan Chaburko sideways off of turn 2. He's able to hang on, and now Larry Scott starting to reel him in slowly.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like with these trucks, it's very hard to pass. You have to get extremely aggressive getting into the corner, because if you're side by side and you're the truck down in the bottom, trying to pass a truck on the outside, if you don't complete that pass by the middle of either turns 1 or 2, you're not going to be able to complete the pass, because that truck on the outside just gets such a run off the corner. As we just look at the 19 and the 15 battle it out for 10th place. Larry Scott Jr. was not able to complete that pass, but definitely is a stronger truck right now.
Caution out on the speedway here on lap 14 of our first yellow of the night. Going to try and figure out what brought that one out. Looks like we got a couple trucks slow down in the front stretch. The 29 machine, 100 Bulls, one of them. We'll take a look back at the replay here to figure out what happened. Looking back, looks like Hunter just got up into the wall all by himself off of turn number. Actually, he hit the wall in turn 4, got a little loose off of turn 4, and spun across the racetrack. An innocent spin right there. He'll need a fresh set of tires to get that truck back to a healthy state, but a very lonely spin for Hunter Bowles. Very innocent, should be able to spin that truck back around and continue on here. First caution on lap 14 of the night.
Yeah, the 29 car, he actually got to end the longest line at the beginning of the race, so he was trying to make up positions after a top 15 qualifying effort. So I'm not sure why he actually had to go to the end of the longest line, but probably just running that truck a little bit too hard, and just the rears got a little heated up.
The field works their way down onto pit road. Looks like everybody is on their way down here. 15 laps in the books, getting to check the tire wear here and see what they can plan accordingly for the rest of the night. Everybody pulling into the pit stalls. Would be surprised to see anything but 4 tires and fuel here for the majority of the field. Looks like so far everybody's got the right sides up, and it does not look like anybody's taking 2 tires, so 4 tire stops throughout the entire field. Race off of pit road. Here they come. Looks like, that was close between Joshua Hanner and Matt Bontempi. I believe Hanner got it. It looks like he did. Matt Bontempi is going to be second, with Bobby Terrell, Frank Buciali the third, and Tony Bowling the top 5 coming out of the pits.
Yeah, definitely a good battle there off pit road. I thought Bontempi got it, but I guess he wasn't able to make it past him before the white line there that dictates when pit road ends and when you can actually not do pit road speed. So good stop for Bontempi and Hanner. So right now they're your top 2.
The number 16 machine of Joshua Harbison stayed out. He is your lucky dog, and he is taking that trip around the pace car right now, so he will cycle to the end of the field, and we'll put Joshua Hanner right behind the pace car and ready to go once we get the 1 to go here. Looks like we have about 2 to go for right now, and should see the white flag to go back. Green flag racing next time by as the field works the way through the pacing. A bit of some exciting action already. Some guys kind of getting roughed up a little bit by the lady in black here, but nothing too uncharacteristic of this racetrack, and it should be a fun one to watch the rest of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that race in there at the beginning was very good. It was very clean, very exciting. So these trucks are really hooked up here, and we're going to get back green very soon.
A quick rundown of the lineup here. Joshua Hanner stuck to the lead. He has led every lap so far. Matt Bontempi, the Super Speedway Cup of North Union driver, in the second spot. Bobby Terrell currently sitting in third. Frank Buciali fourth. Tony Bowling fifth, and the rest of the top 10 with Matt Kingsbury, Jeff Backey Jr., Rod Flagg, Brendan Chaburko, and Nathan Lamoth dropping a few spots down to 10th place. He was just outside the top 5 at the caution flag, so some problems on pit road, sending him back to the 10th place position. As the field has gotten the 1 to go this time by, they have doubled up and looking to go green flag in about a half a lap.
Yeah, the 24 truck decided to pick the inside line. I'm not sure if the trucks are actually able to pick whether they want the inside or the outside line, but how does that work, Kyle?
The leader does have choice of whether they want to start on the inside or the outside line. We actually saw that for the first time last season, or not last season, last week at Las Vegas. A couple trucks choosing the outside lane to start in. Joshua Hanner choosing the inside for this restart. We will see how that goes for him. The start ran very well for him, so he looks to continue that success on the inside. Pace car is off. We are getting set to go back green flag racing. 18 laps complete when they hit the stripe. Green flag is out. We are racing once again, and Joshua Hanner gets off to a great restart. He moves up the track to set himself up for turn number 1, and Matt Bontempi right on his tail looking. And we got some trucks in the wall in the back there. A last lap motorsports truck, I believe that was Matt Kingsbury. He comes off the wall, loses a couple spots, but continues going. Matt Bontempi looking to the inside for the lead, couldn't quite get it. He falls back in line and sticks behind that 24 car. Frank Buciali the third moves up to third off of that restart, and now Bontempi looks to the inside off of turn 4.
Yeah, we're pretty much single file right now, all the way back to top 10 here, as we got a battle for 6th place. Maybe not. Hold on. Got.
Still got single file racing. Actually, now it looks like we had a truck down to the inside to make a pass. It was one of the Dark Horse Racing trucks that is back in the 13th spot. Larry Scott Jr. working his way around Jimmy Jones in the 27. He takes that 12th spot away and looks to try to work his way through the field. That team picked up the victory last week, the Dark Horse Z-Loop Racing team. They've been strong these past couple of weeks. Larry Scott Jr. Picked up the driver victory 2 weeks ago at New Hampshire. They were very strong, and he came home to finish in second last week, and that team picked up the team win, and they have worked themselves into championship contention here for these last few races. So that Dark Horse Racing team has stepped up their game these last few weeks, and they are now a legitimate threat for the championship for the rest of the season. So we've seen their strength so far. I would definitely be looking for these guys to continue to be strong throughout the remainder of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, all these guys are doing a tremendous job, especially here at Darlington. I'm actually very surprised with the low caution counts. Only one caution so far. These guys are giving each other room. They're racing very clean. So not a lot of aggressive racing going on, but that's what this ETV Team Series is all about.
Some spot swapping just outside of the top 10 there. Jimmy Jones working his way around teammate Ray Kingsbury. That was for the 13th spot there. Rod Flag just in front of him, a little bit ahead, and then quite a bit of ways ahead of them. The Larry Scott Jr. truck in the 15, he has moved his way up to the 11th spot and now looks to try to take over Glenn Hedrick in the 20. In the 10th spot, we saw Hedrick get into some trouble that first run there. Looks like they have done the repairs and adjustments necessary for that truck. Looks a lot better this run, but right now it looks like he's under attack from Larry Scott Jr. here for the 10th spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenn Hendrick, he's definitely starting in the top 5 as he's about to get pressure from the 15 of Larry Scott heading into the turn, and the 15 truck is actually able to clear him off in the middle of the corner, coming off the corner and takes a position, and now is going to drive away.
The strength of Larry Scott Jr. from the past few weeks showing here tonight once again as he kisses the wall just a little bit in the middle of 3 and 4 as he's worked his way into the top 10 and looks to try to continue that run towards the front. Just in front of him, though, looks like that is Nathan Lamoth trying to get around Tony Bowling, and does get around Tony Bowling for the 8th position. Nathan Lamoth, a problem on that first pit stop there, lost a few positions, and now he's working for them back, moving up into the 8th position, and now has his sights set on the 13 truck of Jeff Backey Jr. Yeah,
Tony Bowling's actually fallen back a few spots since this restart. He's back to 8th right now, or actually now back to 9th, and the 15 truck seems to be a little bit faster, so I'm going to be watching this battle for 9th heat up here in a couple of laps or so.
Truck coming out of the pits, an RSR Outlaw truck. I believe that is Bobby Terrell. Actually, he didn't come out of the pits. He got a little sideways there and drops all the way back to the end of the field. A crazy change of events there for Bobby Terrell. We will see how he can be able to recover. But back up to the 9th spot, some spot swapping going ahead there. Larry Scott Jr. making the move, and he is now into the 9th spot, looking to continue. He's closing in on Tony Bowling and trying to work his way through the field again.
Yeah, he was on the inside of Tony Bowling into turn number 3. Wasn't able to complete the pass, and he got wicked loose off the corner and fell all the way back about 3/10 from Tony. So he needs to regroup and get those tires calmed down a little bit, and he's going to try it again.
Getting into a little bit of trouble there in the middle of 1 and 2, kiss the wall, and now that opens the door for Glenn Hendrick in the 20 machine to look to the inside to try to take it. Can't quite do it in turn number 3 there. He will try again. Coming off of the turn, can't quite get it there either, and that is allowing the 23 of Rod Flag and the 27 of Jimmy Jones to close up onto the bumper of these guys. Some side-by-side racing just ahead of them there. Jeff Backey Jr., Brendan Chaburko side by side for the 5th spot. Chaburko has it. Backey wants it, can't get it done. Now Lamoth to the outside. Backey slides off at turn number 2, hangs on, going to lose the spot to Lamoth, and going to lose the spot to Tony Bowling as well. So that slight mistake costs Jeff Backey Jr. 2 spots, and he falls back now to the 8th spot, just in front of teammate Larry Scott Jr., who we were just talking to you about. Lamoth sideways off of turn 4 a little bit, and now Bontempi, I believe that is, in the 21, starting to drop back a little bit there. He is now into the 4th spot, and he's got a mirror full of the 26 and Nathan Lamoth, so actually he's now back to 5th place, and Lamoth trying to get into the top 5 into the inside at turn number 3, doesn't quite have enough to get it done.
Yeah, we just had a battle for 8th place between Backey Jr. and Scott Jr. teammates. It just seems like Backey Jr. is really loose off the corners, isn't able to get that truck to stick off the corners, and he loses another spot, now all the way back to 9th, as Larry Scott Jr. is now about to try and get on the inside of Tony Bowling for that 8th, 7th spot. Just right now, this seems like the fastest truck out of the 3 that's ahead of him right now.
A bit of a log jam, a couple trucks up. Matt Bontempi slid off of turn number 2, got a little bit loose, and that checked up the field behind him there. Nathan Lamoth not anywhere really to go. Tony Bowling right behind him. Larry Scott, Jeff Backey all running right in a row here. Lamoth right on that back bumper of the 21, and he is looking to try and get by him for these last few laps here, working on that 21. That 21 is struggling. He was up front, restarted in 2nd place, I believe, this last caution, but he is absolutely struggling this run. He's dropped back to the 5th spot and looks to be losing some more spots if Lamoth can get it done. He looks to the inside into turn number 1. Bontempi giving him room. Lamoth slides up, nearly makes contact, but he doesn't. Falls back in line in 6th place. And right there, it shows how difficult it is to pass here. Bontempi sideways off at turn number 2, slides to the inside, and that's going to cost him 2, maybe 3 and 4 spots. Loses 2, is side by side for the 3rd one there. He's on the apron again, and now he drops back a 4th spot off at turn number 2 from that slide.
He's continuing to lose spots coming off turn number 4. He went all the way back to 8th place after being in 5th, so definitely a costly mistake there, as he got really loose off the corner. He needs to regroup, or he needs to tell that crew chief what's wrong with that truck so he can get that fixed. But 2nd all the way back to 9th now since the restart.
Definitely something amiss underneath the hood of that 21 machine. Looked like he started out the night very strong, but he has been struggling here recently, and as you said, dropped back to 9th right now. Back up front, no different story from where we left it. Joshua Hanner in the 24, a newcomer to this series. He's only got a few starts under his belt, but right now he has led every single lap of this race, and he has a 1.5-second lead over the 28 machine of Matt Kingsbury. Frank Busialia III currently sits in 3rd with Brendan Chaburko and Nathan Lamoth rounding out the top 5. Kingsbury actually chopped off 2/10 of that lead from Joshua Hanner, so watch for that 28 to see if he can continue to close in. He made the pass on Frank Busialia III a few laps ago for the 2nd place. Kingsbury, part of that last lap motorsports team, they are sitting atop of the point standings right now, 20 points over the Super Speedway Cup of North Union. They've been strong these past few weeks, and they're looking to continue that momentum.
Yeah, we got a huge battle here for 9th place. Bontempi continues to struggle as he hit the wall off in between turns 3 and 4. We'll lose another spot to Glenn Hedrick, who is also struggling. Ooh, we got a spin. Larry Scott Jr. is going around on the backstretch, able to save it. No contact. This loses again, but no contact off the wall, as I believe the caution's out.
Caution flag is out. Kyle, problems for the number 15 of Larry Scott Jr. Spins it off at turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Doesn't hit anything. Fortunately enough for him, he will spin that truck around and catch up to the field. He was battling hard there with Tony Bowling. Tony hit the wall off of turn number 2, and there may have been some contact with Tony's left rear and Larry Scott's right front. Nothing that Larry could have done right there. just a victim of circumstances right there, and spun the truck around. Doesn't look like he has any severe damage whatsoever, so he should be able to bring that truck down to pit lane, get the 4 fresh Goodyear tires, and continue on here tonight. Second caution coming out on lap 38, and the field looks to head down pit road. Each and every single truck on the lead lap hits pit road. Pit stop starting to get ready for the second time here tonight on lap 40.
Yeah, we're going to expect 4-tire pit stops with all these trucks. I don't think 2 tires really works here at Darlington, but you knew that 15 truck was much faster than the 3 or 4 trucks in front of him, and just victim of circumstance right there. He was trying to get around Tony Bowling for at least 10 laps, so no, just this unfortunate situation there for Larry Scott Jr. as Joshua Hanner is going to be the first truck off pit road.
Hanner wins the race off of pit road and takes the pit speeding cone out with him. Matt Kingsbury going to come out second with Frank Buciali the third in third. Brennan Chaburko and Nathan Lamoth running out the top 5 coming out of the pits. Under our second caution here at Darlington Raceway, the ETV Live Radio 150 for the ETV Live Team Series here at Darlington. We're going to step away, take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for the restart. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
Getting set for the restart here back at Darlington Raceway. The field has just gotten the 1-to-go signal here, getting ready to go back racing. Here the ETV Live Team Series visiting the Darlington Raceway. The ETV Live Radio 150, the sponsor for tonight's event. A little bit about the ETV Live Radio. The ETV Live Radio, supported by HD Radio Network, features classic rock every hour, every day. You can also catch live events such as race day broadcasts right from the booth and listen to engaging talk shows every week. ETV Live Radio featured in the sports section of iTunes. Get the mobile app from tunein.com and look for us on Windows Media Guide, ETV Live Radio on the HD Radio Network, your sponsor for tonight's event.
Yeah, we definitely got some excellent shows in that ETV Live Radio and a lot of really good music. But back to the action here, as we get set to go green, Joshua Hanner is going to select the inside again on this restart. Matt Kingsbury, who came out of pit row second, as we go back green, and Joshua Hanner gets a phenomenal start again, able to get up the racetrack and set his corner up into turn number 1.
Hanner has been killer on these restarts. He does it again, takes the lead, but Matt Kingsbury, he was closing in that last run. It looks like he's going to try and run him down here, closing the lead instantly off of turn number 2. Kingsbury might have something for that 24 machine as he closes in on him here in turn number 4. Frank Buciali the third, watching just ahead of these guys. He can also be in the mix. And Brendan Chaburko in that 19 truck, he's worked his way up to into the 4th place, watching the battle for the lead going on right now. Kingsbury slides, washes into 24, turns him around, multiple trucks involved. This is going to be a big one, Kyle.
Absolutely. Wow, Josh Kingsbury just literally just took out Hanner getting into the corner, collected at least the first 4 trucks, maybe in top 5. Yeah, Tony Bowling definitely a part of that, but big pile up there for just a little bit over aggressive racing by Kingsbury.
Kingsbury tried to make the pass for the lead on the inside at turn number 1, caught the apron just a little bit, shoved the nose of the truck up into the left rear corner panel of the 24, spun him around, took out the 17 of Frank Buciali the third, the 3 machine Tony Bowling got around, I believe that's the 26 of Nathan Lamoth going around as well. Another one of the last lap motorsports truck getting into the side, that's Jimmy Jones getting into the side of the 24. Tony Bowling went around up in turn number 2, so multiple trucks involved in this accident. Quite a few of our front runners. Brennan Traburko also went around in turn number 2. A heavy incident here on lap number 44, taking out quite a few possible contenders. We'll have to see how bad the damage is for these guys as they bring the trucks down to pit road this time by to try to get things beaten out.
I even think Bobby Terrell, who is our race leader after all of that, has damage. At least the top 7 or 8 definitely got some damage from that. It's just what happens when you're up front. If you get a wreck and you're the leader, with the limited amount of racing space you have here, it's very easy to just collect a massive amount of trucks, as we just saw here. Even if you go down on the inside on that apron, you're pretty much going from banking to pretty much a flat track. So, and the truck doesn't really like that too much. So you're going to spin out. So, just not a lot of racing room here. And when you have a wreck up front, it can be chaotic, just like we just saw here.
Indeed, it is, Kyle. It's just with a very limited racing room you have here at the Darlington Raceway, the slightest mistake can cause a massive problem, as we saw. A very unfortunate set of circumstances there. The 24, Joshua Hanner, a newcomer to the ETV Live Team Series. He's only had about, I believe, 2 or 3 races under his belt. He looked very strong. He led every single lap of this race up until that point. Nothing he could have really done any different. It was just a mistake on the 28's part there, and he was an innocent victim. A lot of trucks taken out in this one. We see a lot of guys staying down on pit road right now. But as you had mentioned, Bobby Terrell taking over the race lead right now. A lot of the guys who weren't involved in this wreck probably going to stay out. We only had about 2 or 3 laps of green flag racing that time, so not a lot of wear on the tires. These guys are going to stay out, try to keep that track position, and that shakes up the lineup quite a bit. We got Bobby Terrell in the lead, Glenn Hendrick second, Jeff Backey Jr. third, Rod Flagg fourth, and Larry Scott Jr. rebounding from that spin very nicely and able to avoid this wreck. He currently sits in 5th place.
He might be happy right now. He spun out in that last caution just because he was all the way in the back, and he had plenty of time to woe that truck down and to get around that incident. Because we definitely know that the 15 truck has no damage. Because when he spun out, he didn't really hit the wall or anything like that. And we know he's really fast. So. And we also know Bobby Terrell is fast, but I'm seeing a little front-end damage on that nose of the 12 car, so I'm not sure, or 12 truck, so I'm not sure how that's gonna affect the handling of that truck right now.
Indeed, there is a bit of a fender bender there on the front end of that 12 machine. The field has gotten the 1 to go. To get ready to go green flag racing here. Lots of trucks losing laps from our top contenders. Joshua Hanner, Matt Kingsbury, Jimmy Jones, Tony Bowling, and Nathan Lamoth all just lost a lap from damage repair. A huge break, huge chain of events that has just happened that has virtually shaken up this entire race. Looking at the field right now, we got 2 Dark Horse Z-Loop racing teammates in the top 5, 2 RSR Outlaw truck teammates in the top 6 right now, and so it's going to be interesting to see how things can play up. We also have some two Crossed Up Motorsports guys And we got a couple Super Speedway Cup North Union guys up there as well. A couple of the last lap motorsports guys getting taken out in that crash. So that Super Speedway Cup team, those eyes just got really big and the tongue just started sticking out of their mouth. They are thirsty. They want that points lead back. And so far it's looking into their favor. The pace car has pulled off onto pit road. Bobby Terrell, our new leader here, first new leader of the race. He will bring the field down. A lot later of a start for him. Green flag is out. We are back racing here. 48 laps complete of the 110-lap race. And he gets off to a great start, side by side for the second spot. Glenn Hedrick and Jeff Backey Jr. Backey takes over the spot in the middle of 1 and 2 and now sets his sights on Bobby Terrell.
Yeah, that was the first time we actually seen. Ooh, we got trouble on the in the backstretch. 29 car 100 Bowls gets really loose off turn 2 and hits the inside wall there. As there's no yellow flag as he did not spin out. So he's actually going to be taking that truck down pit road with some definite left side damage, possibly a tire down.
Caution flag stays in its holster. We continue to go green flag racing. Back up front, Bobby Terrell only has a 10th over Jeff Backey Jr. Backey closed that gap quickly and is looking to get around Bobby Terrell for the lead. Backey has been strong in some of these team races here before, and he's looking to take the lead once again and try to put a Dark Horse Racing truck out in front. We've seen how dominant that team has been over these past couple of weeks, and it continues here at the Lady in Black. Maybe those the black-colored schemes helping out here at the Lady in Black. Glenn Hedrick trying to fend off Becky's teammate Larry Scott Jr., but we've seen how strong Larry has been throughout the night. Recovered from that spin very, very well, and looking to move his way up to the field and see if maybe they can't get those team trucks 1-2, as right now Backey looks to make it into the first spot. Backey looks low in turn number 1, washes up a little bit and clears. Now Glenn Hedrick looking to the inside, trying to take the second spot. Can't quite do it. Larry Scott is outside now for third. Gets a little loose. No contact made though. They stay clean and green.
Yeah, we knew that Bobby Terrell had that front end damage, and when you're the leader and you're out in clean air, that doesn't, with the damaged nose like that, it doesn't really help the truck. When you have a damaged truck like that, you want to be sucked up behind another truck. I guess that truck handling much better, but Jeff Backey Jr. definitely has the better truck right now than Bobby Terrell, and Larry Scott Jr. was able to get around Glenn Hedrick for that third spot. So definite Glenn Hedrick going to be coming up to Bobby Terrell pretty soon.
Dark Horse Z-Loop Racing teammates first and third right now. Larry Scott Jr., you know he wants to get that second spot to make it a 1-2 run right here. We're a lap and a half away from the halfway point in tonight's event. Jeff Backey Jr. currently leading it after Joshua Hanner dominated the first part of this race, unfortunately taken out in an unfortunate incident, which, as I have just been told, Hanner has gotten out of the truck, and it looks like he is done for the night. So, went from hero to zero very quickly, as Hanner will finish dead last in 21st here tonight.
Yeah, it's just extremely unfortunate. Just flat out just got taken out. Definitely the dominant truck here tonight, but just an unfortunate situation for him. He doesn't come here, he doesn't really do a lot of races, so when he's here he wants to win, and he was very, very close to doing that. As we saw, the leader 13 truck of Jeff Backey Jr. was spinning or hit the wall there. As we got some trouble down the backstretch, we have a truck spinning.
John Abbott and the number 10 truck spins around down the back straightaway off a contact from Matt Bontempi. I do not believe the caution flag is out, though. A single truck spin down the back stretch. No caution is out. We continue to stay green. That is a tough break for John Abbott, the RSR Outlaw truck entry, running inside the top 10. Now he's going to drop back to 14th place and doesn't even get a caution to boot.
Yeah, I actually think that was a good call by the race admins. Just just a single truck spinning down on the backstretch in the part of the track where really no one races. So no reason to throw the caution out there. I'm sure John Abbott would strongly disagree with that call, but I think everyone else is pretty happy that this race is staying green.
Not only John, but Tony Bowling too. Tony currently sitting one lap down in 15th. He is the lucky dog contender as it stands right now. Tony was involved in that incident one caution ago. Unfortunately, the yellow did not come out. Now it is out. Caution flag is out here on lap 59. Matt Bontempi is into the wall and down on the apron in turns 2. We saw him struggle early on, and unfortunately it has come to a head here. Matt Bontempi in trouble in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, we'll have to get the replay and see what happened here. But Stephen Koch, he also was spinning down the backstretch here, and looks like has a ton of damage as that truck isn't even straight right now. So definitely some huge damage on that 14 truck.
Taking a look back at the replay, looked like Stephen Cox in the 14 looked to try to make a pass on the inside of the 21, very similar to what we saw last caution with Joshua Hanner and Matt Kingsbury. The 14 truck just washed up a little bit, tapped the 21. The 21 came back down, hit the 14, put the 21 into the wall, and Larry Mulligan, unfortunately, getting a part of it, an innocent bystander of that one. He gets clipped by the 21 and gets put into the outside wall. I'm trying to see where the 14 ended up spinning here. Looked like he might have spun all by his own. So it looked like he had it saved there. He tried coming back up onto the racing surface and just lost the truck by himself and hit the inside wall with the driver's door a ton. So that would explain the damages on there. So a 3-truck accident here on lap number 59 brings out the caution for the 4th time here tonight. A tough break for those guys. Some other contenders there. A Dark Horse Racing truck. We saw how successful his team has been so far. Unfortunately, Stephen Cox not as successful here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just saw pit stops there. Jeff Backey Jr. was able to get out ahead of Bobby Trell and Larry Scott Jr. All taking 4 tires there. So not a lot of action down pit road. But we are ETV Live, and we are the only choice in simulation auto racing broadcasting. Since 2008, ETV Live has produced over 700 shows for over 220,000 viewers. ETV Live has pioneered and engineered some of the best innovations in online auto sports broadcasting. With 3 pricing packages available, book yours today. The industry experts, ETV Live, is the only choice. Contact us at www.etv-eplay.net or etvlive@etv-eplay.net.
ETV Live, the supporters here of the ETV Live Team Series, brought to you each and every Sunday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe this is the 8th or 9th race of the season, so we're starting to get down toward the end of this season, and championship implications are starting to take place here, especially here tonight. With some drivers getting involved in some problems, some other drivers with some strong runs trying to bring back their chances of a championship, and with less than 40 laps to go in this one, it should be exciting to see what can happen from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely. My eyes right now is set on Larry Scott Jr. And we saw him spin out there and during that second caution, and was able to avoid that big pileup up in the front with that third caution. He was able to get up to the top 5, but I've been watching him all night. Definitely one of the fastest trucks out here in that Dark Horse Racing truck. And we know he's faster. I believe he's faster than Jeff Backey Jr. Just earlier in the race, he was able to get by him with no problem. So right now, I'm looking at Larry Scott Jr. Who are you looking at, Kyle?
It's hard to choose anybody but Larry Scott Jr. He's been dominant all night. But looking through the lineup here, Brendan Traburko was involved in that caution 2 cautions ago that involved our leader Joshua Hanner. He has gotten his truck back to 5th place right now, and we have seen how strong Traburko has been in the past. Don't count him out yet. He is still on the track. He is still a threat to be a contender. Tony Bowling was, in fact, the lucky dog, so he went around the pace car last lap and took his lap back. He will rejoin the back of the field as now the pace car pulls down onto pit road. Jeff Backey Jr. going to lead the field back to green flag here on lap number 63. He gets a good start, jabs the gas off of turn number 4. Green flag is out, and we are back racing once again.
Yeah, right now the battle is for second, not even, because Larry Scott Jr. is going to be able to get around Bobby Terrell for that second spot. So Bobby Terrell did not get a good start at all on that outside line, losing a spot as they head down to turn number 3.
Dark Horse Racing teammates 1-2, Jeff Backey Jr., Larry Scott Jr. lead the field out in front of Bobby Terrell, Brendan Traburko, and Glenn Hedrick. Traburko moved his way into 4th place off of the restart and is all over the back bumper of the 12 machine of Bobby Terrell, looking to try to make something happen. Here, Traburko, some front-end damage after being involved in that caution with Joshua Hanner and Matt Kingsbury. Doesn't look like it's hurting him too bad. He looks to be able to keep up with the 12 machine. And actually, I think that group of 3 there is actually reeling in our leaders, Jeff Backey Jr. and Larry Scott Jr. So maybe this battle isn't over between these guys here. It could only be starting.
Yeah, absolutely. Brendan Traburko's truck looks really clean, especially after getting in that wreck. That pit crew of his did a phenomenal job in fixing that truck. He's all over the back bumper of Bobby Terrell, so it won't be long before he gets around to Bobby Terrell, and he'll have his eyes set on these 2 Dark Horse Racing trucks and of Jeff Backey Jr. and Larry Scott Jr.
Terrell not the only one of his stable sitting in the top 5 right now. Just behind him, teammate Glenn Hedrick running in 5th place. That Super Speedway Cup South Rebel, a part of the top 5 in points. Their associate teammates in the Super Speedway Cup North Union, 20 points out in 2nd place. They actually have one of their drivers, Rod Flagg, in 6th place now behind these guys. So the Super Speedway Cup guys starting to form up and starting to show their strength here at the later stages of the race. We currently have 33, I believe, 33 laps to go here from the Darlington Raceway. It should be a very good finish from here on out, and it's looking to shape up fairly well. We got the Dark Horse Racing guys 1-2 right now, and Super Speedway Cup all over the top 5 here, and they look strong as they look to maybe take over Bobby Terrell right here.
Yeah, I'm watching Larry Scott Jr. past 2-3 laps. He's getting to that outside wall, getting into turn number 3, which is really affecting his truck as he gets way loose off turn number 2 here. We'll see if he can get through turns 3 and 4 here cleanly, able to do that. But it just seems like every time he does that, he's losing 3-4 tenths off Jeff Backey Jr. as we have a battle here for brewing here for 3rd place. Traburko not able to get on the inside. Ooh, hits the wall off turn number 1. Able to get that truck fixed up and head down the backstretch as he's about to be challenged for 4th place by Glenn Hedrick, who is going to clear him in the middle. 3 and 4 does the slide job. The 19 truck gets back on the inside, doing a crossover move, heading into turn number 1. Nice racing here.
Excellent racing with teammates, but the 20 Hedrick gets into the wall, gets a little sideways, and is now going to lose that 5th spot to the 23 of Rod Flagg. Hits the apron a little sideways again. So hard racing with teammate Brendan Traburko there. Cost him a little bit, made a mistake, hit the wall. Looks like he's got that truck regrouped. Looks a little wobbly still, but he's back to 6th place. Some really nice racing though there with Brendan Traburko. They were nice and clean racing for position there. Unfortunately he hit the wall, but it looks like he's okay, and we'll continue on Traberka now lost a little bit of time with Bobby Terrell there. Terrell still on the back bumper of those Dark Horse Racing teammates who are now fighting for the lead. Larry Scott Jr. squeezes on by. Looks like Becky kind of let him get on by there. And Larry Scott Jr. moves into the lead on lap number 72.
Scott Jr. must have heard me there. He stopped hitting the wall getting into turn number 3. And was able to catch right out to Backy Jr. And Backy Jr. just said, hey, you're a little bit faster than me. I know you're my teammate, so I'm just going to let you go and let you drive away.
So Larry Scott Jr. takes over the lead, and he looks to try to pull away from the rest of the field. Still a 1-2 right now for the Dark Horse Racing teammates. RSR Outlaw Truck team in third place with Bobby Terrell, a Super Speedway Cup South Rebel driver in Brandon Traberka fourth, and a Super Speedway Cup North Union driver in fifth. So we have a variety of teams in the top 5 right now. And if things stay the way it is, it's going to be close between the Dark Horse Z-Loop Racing Team and the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel to see who is going to pick up the win. They each have 2 trucks in the top 6 right now, and looking through the rest of the top 10, it looks like there's another Super Speedway Cup, actually that's a Super Speedway Cup North Union driver, so it's actually kind of evened out. There's quite a few teams up around there. If you are new to the ETV Live Team Series, the way that the scoring works is you have 4 trucks on each team. Only your top 3 trucks score. So whoever finishes 4th for your team will not count. The top 3 finishing drivers for your team gets a total combined point, and that is your team's point total. It is all about how your team finishes, not how you finish. So Larry Scott Jr., he can win this race all he wants. And actually, he's into the wall off of turn number 2 right now. He's able to hang on. Still staying clean and green, though. Larry Scott Jr. can win this race all he wants. But if Jeff Becky Jr. runs into some problems, crashes out, they already have Stephen Cox out of the race. And I believe, trying to see who their 4th driver is. It might, I don't know if they have a 4th driver or not. So, these guys, they have to stay close together for maximum points, because winning the race doesn't do it justice in this series.
No, absolutely not. You gotta have your teammates with you. I believe they do have a 4th team. We're gonna look that up. 4th driver. It's a 14 truck. Who's the 14 here? Stephen Cox. He's actually still in the race. He's just 15 laps down, but yeah, that's your 3 drivers. Because I just saw him come out of pit road. So yeah, you got Larry Scott Jr., Jeff Backy Jr., and Stephen Cock all the way back here in 19th. So that is not really going to help them out in the points. But if Larry Scott and Backy Jr. continue to stay 1-2, no, they'll have a pretty decent points day. But right now, both Larry Scott Jr. and Backy Jr. just need to keep a level head. It just seems like they're making minute mistakes with hitting a wall off turn 2 or getting into the wall heading in turn number 3. If they just eliminate those mistakes, I really feel they have the trucks so that they can drive away from Bobby Terrell and just dominate the rest of this race.
That Dark Horse Racing team does have 4 drivers. That 4th driver would be the 16 machine of Joshua Harbison. Harbison currently sitting in 20th place right now, 15 laps down. So this is a bit of a struggle, and it's going to be a rough night for points for that Dark Horse Racing team. They need this 1-2 finish. Their 3rd counting driver is the number 14 of Stephen Cox, who is currently running 18th. We have 21 trucks who entered and took the green flag for this race. 20 of them are still racing right now. So right now, if the race were to end, they would get points for 1st, 2nd, and 18th. So they really, really need to stay top 2 here. We've seen this team be strong throughout the past couple weeks, and they've actually pulled themselves into championship contention, only 56 points out of the championship lead heading into tonight's race. So if these guys can stay 1-2, then they can save themselves a miserable points night. Unfortunately, their 3rd scoring driver is outside of the top 15, but that top 2 will definitely help cushion the blow here tonight.
Yeah, Larry Scott Jr. and Backey Jr. can finish 1-2 all they want, but if you have a team that finishes even 5th, 6th, 7th, or 5th, 6th, 9th, or whatever, that's going to be the team that wins. You can and get the max points for their team. So it's a team effort here with this team series, which was what makes it unique than any other league in iRacing. So it's just it's tough, especially if you watch your teammate struggle while you're dominating. But no, it's all part of the fun here at the ETV Live Team Series.
Indeed it is there, Kyle. The only thing that those Dark Horse Racing teammates up front can do is just stay there to help better their night, and it looks like they're starting to slowly pull away from Bobby Terrell in the 12 machine. Got about a half a second on him right now, as, oh wow, Jimmy Jones makes a very evasive maneuver to get around and away from those leaders here. They're working on lap number 84 right now, so we've got 26 laps to go when they hit the line. These guys kind of getting spread out, and looks like they're settling in for a fairly long green flag run right now. We might see these guys go green flag for the rest of the way. And we saw some guys stay out on that last caution because it was such a quick yellow. So it'll be interesting to see who struggles from that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tires are very important here. And your truck has to remain clean, because even if your truck has even a little bit of damage, these trucks require a lot of aero, and especially when you're at a track like this, if you have damage, especially in the front end, it's going to make you super tight, and you do not want to be tight at a track like Darlington when you only have pretty much a 2-groove racing surface. So you have to eliminate mistakes, and when your truck's damaged, like Tony Bowling's is, and Terrence Donovan, and Frank Usciali III, you're just struggling just to get around these corners. You have to woe down pretty significantly.
Taking a look through your running order as it stands right now, Larry Scott Jr. in the 15 is out in front of teammate Jeff Backey Jr. second place right now. Wow, actually we got some problems at the back of the field right there. Looking through the field, the 29 machine, Hunter Bowles, he got into the outside wall in turn number 3, slid down. He's at the start-finish line right now. He's able to hang on. The Hunter Bowles, a rough night for that the number 29 truck. Actually just in front of the leaders right now. He was the cause of the first caution. He's gotten that truck beat up and damaged, and almost brought out another caution right there, but he's able to hang on. Hunter Bowles currently running 17th right now, 11 laps down. But going back to the running order, Larry Scott Jr. and Jeff Backey Jr., your top 2 Dark Horse Racing teammates. Bobby Terrell sits in 3rd, Rod Flagg 4th, Glenn Hedrick now rounding out the top 5 with Brendan Chabrico, Sean Brown, John Abbott, Ray Kingsbury, and Tony Bowling at the top 10 as it stands.
Yeah, as these lead lap cars are about to hit some lap traffic, we'll see who is able to get through this lap traffic the best. This will determine how far ahead Larry Scott Jr. can get ahead of these guys, as Larry Scott Jr. gets around that lap truck and able to drive away a little bit from Backey Jr. As Bobby Terrell clears the 17 truck and continues down the backstretch.
I don't know about you there, Kyle, but I did not think that 17 machine of Frank Buciali III was being kind to the lead lap trucks at all. He stacked all 3 of them up and held some of them up as they were working their way on by. So Frank Buciali making it a little difficult for those guys, and now the Dark Horse Racing teammates have a massive lead over Bobby Terrell. They're actually right on each other's bumpers, and now Terrell about 1.3 seconds off of these 2 teammates here with 20 laps to go. So some lap traffic getting in the way here. Able to stay green flag racing and keeping the truck straight, but they were definitely a factor in holding these guys up a little bit.
Yeah, and as a lap down truck, you can give them the courtesy of front of the leader to just let them drive on by. But you want to stay on the lead lap. And NASCAR will throw you a flag saying, "Hey, you're slower than the lead lap cars, and the lead lap trucks are coming up to you. Maybe you should get out of the way." But when you're Busciali and Donovan, and you're trying to fight to stay on the lead lap, hoping for a caution, friendliness goes out the window. Once you get around by, you try to push that truck as hard as you can, just so you're the first truck one lap down to get that lucky dog, if you're not able to fend off the leader before the caution comes out.
They're able to get a bit of a breather there from their most recent lap traffic. That was teammate Joshua Harbison in the 16 machine. He got out of the way right on by, and now they're catching up to a last lap motorsports truck in the 28. That is Matt Kingsbury. Kingsbury currently sitting one lap down in 13th place, about to go 2 laps down. Larry Scott Jr. touches the wall a little bit there in the middle of 3 and 4. And as these guys run nose to tail right now, Kyle, I'm kind of curious as to what's going to happen right here. I would have thought that Larry Scott Jr. was a bit faster than Jeff Backey, but Backey's actually sticking right with Larry Scott. Could this kind of be team design? Do you think maybe Backey's going to try to go for it? Or does he just sit there and say, hey, it doesn't matter which one of us wins, we're 1-2 either way, let's get the points, that's what matters most?
I think Larry Scott Jr. has a faster truck, but he just continues to hit that wall in the turn number 3. I'm not sure. He needs to figure out how to enter turn number 3, because it just seems like every lap or every other lap he's hitting that wall getting into turn number 3, which is really slowing that truck down. If he can just get a level head and drive his truck instead of driving the track and mirror driving, I think he can drive away. He pretty much hits the wall in between 3 and 4 again. I think that's the reason why Jeff Backey Jr. is able to keep up with him. Jeff Backey Jr. is eliminating his mistakes. He's driving his race. He's being very patient with Larry Scott Jr. Of course, you want to be patient with your teammates. But I think Larry, he hits the wall again on the middle turn 3 and 4. I think Larry Scott Jr. just needs to eliminate these mistakes that he just continually has doing, and he'll be able to drive away.
Laps are starting to tick down here. Only 13 laps to go for these two teammates to figure it out. It looks like they have a healthy lead now over Bobby Terrell, and if this thing stays green, it's going to be these two to fight it out for the win. And I'm still curious to see what's going to happen here. It looks like Larry Scott has been all over the racetrack, slipping and sliding, nearly hitting the wall lap after lap, and I have a feeling that is what's allowing Jeff Backey Jr. to stick right with him here. And it's going to be interesting to see if Backey tries to make the move for the lead and win this race himself. But as long as the caution flag stays where it's at right now and doesn't come out, it's going to be these two guys fighting it out, and it should be a very interesting race as it gets down to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Backey Jr. actually on the inside for the lead, able to complete the pass, getting into turn number 1, and Jeff Backey Jr. with 12 laps to go is going to take the lead. Actually, 10 laps to go. 10 laps to go with this race, and Jeff Backey Jr. takes the lead, now down turn number 3. He's starting to drive away from Larry Scott Jr. as he's going to try to get around his lap truck. And down the front stretch, the 22 truck of Terrence Donovan now is going to go a lap down. I really think Jeff Backey Jr. is going to be able to drive away. He was taking care of his tires, taking care of his stuff. He had 10 laps to go. Now is the time to go, and now it's time to use your stuff.
Jeff Backey Jr. made the pass for the lead, and is slowly starting to pull away here, gapping a couple of tenths on Larry Scott Jr. And from the looks of it, it looks like Backey does have the better truck right now. Larry Scott was just all over the place in the lead. He couldn't keep hold of the truck very well, and it didn't look like he put up too much of a fight though, and just kind of let Larry Scott or let Jeff Backey go right on by, and looks like he's slowly starting to pull away now, and this thing could be heading towards Jeff Backey's favor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Larry Scott Jr. got really loose off turn number 2 there, just about lost it. I think he really used up his tires, staying out in the lead like that. And I think he's not running this racetrack like he should have that first portion of that tire run. So right now those tires are definitely hurting.
Taking a look back into the field here a little bit, we got some hard racing going on. For the 6th spot, Brandon Chaburko in the 19, side by side right now with the 2 machine of Sean Brown. Brown trying to move up a spot. John Abbott in the 10 right behind these guys, and Glenn Hedrick in the 20 just in front trying to escape this battle. 4 trucks battling for real estate here, 5th through 8 spots with just 7 laps to go. These guys trying to fight for every spot that they possibly can to try to help their teams right now. Glenn Hedrick, Brendan Chaburko teammates on the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel, so they're trying to get away from these guys. Sean Brown and John Abbott on 2 separate teams from Hedrick and Chaburko, so these 2 trying to hold off and keep that string together. 5th and 6th place, a good run for the South Rebel right now. I believe they are the leading South Rebel drivers, as Rod Flagg is a part of the North Union. They are South Rebel leaders right now, Glenn Hedrick and Brandon Chaburko. Looks like the battles have kind of died down for right now, but Sean Brown is still looking right on that rear bumper to try to get around Brandon Chaburko.
Yeah, and that battle's going to continue as Sean Brown is on the inside of Brandon Chaburko for that 6th spot, able to clear him off turn 2. Does the slide job. But Brendan Chaburko is going to do the crossover move going down turn number 3. But Sean Brown has the preferred line getting off turn number 4 and will clear him and drive away from Brendan Chaburko. Now it's John Abbott trying to make the move to the inside of Brendan Chaburko. Not able to do it as they continue down turn number 1 with 3 laps to go.
Sean Brown taking over the 6th spot now. He's trying to chase down Glenn Hedrick to try to get into the top 5. Chaburko touches the wall off at 2 and loses the spot to John Abbott. So now Chaburko back into the 7th spot. Back into the 8th spot. John Abbott up into 7th place here with just 3 laps to go. And up front, things might get a little interesting for the 2nd place spot. Larry Scott Jr. is falling back into the clutches of Bobby Terrell. Terrell going to try and run him down here within the last 2.5 laps to try to get by him and get a 2nd place run for his number 12 RSR Outlaw truck. But right now it is all Jeff Backey Jr. out in front. 2 laps to go as he hits the stripe. The battle is going to be for 2nd place here. The gap between these 2 just 0.4 of a second. It'll be interesting to see if Terrell can reel him in.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell has been picking up at least a half a second per lap ever since Larry Scott Jr. Got the lead taken away from him. It's just how he's entering turn number 3 is the problem, as now Bobby Terrell is on the back bumper of that truck for 2nd place with now one lap to go heading into turn number 1. Right now it's Jeff Backey Jr. all by himself, 3.5 seconds back.
Half a lap to go. The number 13 machine of Jeff Backey Jr., part of the Dark Horse Z-Lube Racing team. This team has struggled throughout the majority of the season, and they're going to come back strong in the 2nd half to try to contend for the championship. Jeff Backey Jr. is going to pick up the win here at Darlington Raceway. Meanwhile, the battle for 2nd ends in a crash. Both drivers sideways and into the inside wall, and it looks like Rod Flagg is going to steal the 2nd spot away from both drivers, with Larry Scott Jr. in 3rd. And we got some more trucks sliding and crashing. The 10 machine, John Abbott, it gets into the back of the 15. Brandon Chaburko slides across the line. A wild finish. And we got one truck upside down. That's Hunter Bowles in the 29. He clips the rear end of the 15, and his truck goes upside down after the finish.
Wow, that what an ending to that race. Larry Scott Jr. definitely not where he should have been on the white flag lap there. Larry Scott Jr. just not in a good location coming to the end of that race, and Hunter Bowles just slammed him and just went upside down. But Jeff Backey Jr. Takes the win here with Rod Flagg in second. Larry Scott Jr. was able to cross the line third. Glenn Hedrick crosses the line fourth, and Bobby Charles, even after all that, was able to spin his truck into the fifth spot.
A wild and crazy finish taking place here at the end of the ETV Live Radio 150 at Darlington Raceway. We're going to step away for a quick moment, let these Dark Horse Racing guys celebrate their 1-3 finish. We will be back to talk with a few of our top finishers here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travis, stop your engine!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first. Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV, live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ETV Live Radio 150 at Darlington Raceway. The ETV Live Team Series just finishing up in a wild finish. We're about ready to talk to some of its participants in it. Right now, we've got Kyle down with our second-place finisher, Rod Flagg, in the 23. Kyle, the mic is all yours.
Yeah, I'm here with Rod Flagg. Rod, you were able to steal a second-place finish there. No, after that massive wreck coming off turn number 4 between Larry Scott Jr. and Bobby Trell, but definitely a excellent second place finish for you. How would you assess your evening?
Didn't start off very good. The car was really tight, the truck was really tight. Really struggling to keep it, off of turn 2, and it is okay in out of turn 4, which is good. But really struggling with that. Made some good adjustments throughout the race, and then some attrition occurred, and then so we were able to get ourselves back up front and get out there. And I think it was probably better in the middle of the run than it was in the beginning and later in the run. So we were able to kind of just stay out there and get what we could take, and I kind of lucked into second place there. I kind of saw that one coming there. I think the second place car was losing a lot of time, and figured third place car was probably going to catch up and try to make a run. So not really surprised there, but we'll definitely take second place.
Yeah, second place is definitely good for you and your team. Who makes it happen for you, Rod?
I just got to thank the Super Speedway Cup, SSSeries.com. Got to thank Jerry Wolf for everything he does to keep this series going. I wish we would have had a little bit better run as a team. I think there's unfortunate circumstances that took out probably with the fastest truck in the night there, and I think that that'll all work itself out in the long run. But I'll take second place. Thanks again to Super Speedway Cup drivers. Really appreciate everything they do and bring. So
that is Rod Flagg. Kyle, I'm actually going to run down to Victory Circle to get a word from Jeff Backey Jr. And I know Larry Scott, he's being treated at the in-track care center. So I believe you have the fourth place driver, Glenn Hedrick.
Trying to see, I don't believe we ended up getting a comment from Glenn Hedrick. Glenn, walking away. He was a part of the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel, which apparently he's a little too busy celebrating his win with the team. As the results have showed, the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel has picked up the victory here tonight, a 149-point victory, 8 points over the associate team of the Super Speedway Cup in North Union. So the Super Speedway Cup teams finishing 1-2 here tonight. The Last Lap Motorsports Group, third place with 137 points. Z-Loop Racing, the Dark Horse Racing team, fourth place with 128. RSR Outlaw Trucks, fifth place with 83. And Crossed Up Motorsports, 76 points in sixth place. Taking a look at the standings after tonight, the Last Lap Motorsports Group, they lose 4 points over the Super Speedway Cup North Union. The points differential now down to just 16 points, and the Dark Horse Z-Loop Racing, after that incident, they actually lose some points as well. They lose 9 points and fall 65 points out in third place. Crossed Out Motorsports loses quite a bit as well, 125 points out, and the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel 212 out in fifth. RSR Outlaw Trucks 321 out in sixth. Twisty Motorsports 378 out in seventh, and RSR Midnight Thunder out 8th place, 582 points. I believe now, Kyle, you're down to victory lane with Jeff Backey Jr. He picked up the win tonight. Lost a little bit of points there on the championship leader, but should be happy that he's in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I ran down here, and Jeff Backey Jr. is out of his race truck. Jeff, definitely a good evening for you. It seems like you were just laying back there, with your teammate there, but with 10 laps to go, you really able to pick up the pace. How was your evening?
The evening overall was great. Everybody at Dark Horse Racing prepared a great truck. We unloaded out in practice. I thought we were pretty good. Went to the race and just didn't get the qualifying effort we wanted. It was hard to pass. I could kind of get an idea of who we were better than and who was better than us, and I got caught behind the 28, and I couldn't get by him cleanly. It seemed like everybody else would go into the corners and dive bomb and move up the track, and I didn't want to pick up my positions like that. And spotter Jake Finch, he cleared me through that big wreck that was off of, I guess, through turns 1 and 2, and I think that right there was a huge break for us to get the track position anyway. And I knew if we could get up front, we could probably see where we stood in comparison to everybody else. And when we did, we were able to, I let Larry by early and just took care of our stuff and tried to stay behind him until we got a big enough lead, and I realized I had to go to see what I got, and got by him, and we pulled away. But I know there were probably some quick guys that were behind us, but I think the track is 60% talent and 40% car, and I'm not saying that I won it because of the thing, but it was just a lot of fun to race out there. Darlington's a really hard track, and to win there, period, is a big deal. It's a lot of fun, and I know everybody at Dark Horse Racing makes a big deal out of this. Larry puts a lot of effort into this, as well as Steve, Josh Harbison, our teammates, and Jerry Wolf for putting this on, and you guys for broadcasting it.
Yeah, you can definitely hear the excitement in Jeff Backey Jr.'s voice. You talk about a race in there with your teammate Larry Scott Jr. You guys seem to be either drafting together. We know that Larry Scott was having a little problems in 3 and 4, which kind of hurt his truck, but. Was the plan was just to ride behind him, and then with 10 laps to go, just try to go for gold?
It wasn't really a plan. He was having radio communications, so my spotter couldn't communicate with his that well, and I tried letting him by early in the run because I knew he had faster speed early in the run than I did, and I just tried to stay behind him because I didn't want to get side by side with him and let the people behind us catch. So when I felt like I could get a good enough run to where I could clear him in the next corner, I was going to go for it, but it wasn't really a plan. I just tried to make sure that I didn't put either him or me or anybody else in a bad position there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Backey, I know there's a lot of people that make it happen for you, so now's your time to give yourself your shout-out to all your sponsors and everyone that makes that happen for you.
Definitely Larry Scott for getting me involved over here. It's a great experience, a lot of fun to come over here and race with a lot of the guys that just trying to have fun on Sunday nights. Big shout out to Dark Horse Racing and everything that they do for the league, and Jerry Wolf as well for putting us on and putting up with everybody in there week in and week out. You guys for broadcasting the race. My teammates, Steve Cox, Josh Harbison, my spotter, Jake Finch.
All right, that's Jeff Backey Jr. There's one thing I disagree with him with, Kyle, and that's, Jerry, these guys have to put up with Jerry. There's no way that Jerry has to put up with these drivers. I think it's definitely the other way around. What do you think?
It's definitely a lot of putting up with everybody throughout this entire season, and I want to go back and make a correction. We had some updated results passed to us during that interview there, Kyle. After final scoring has been in, the Dark Horse Racing team is actually your winners here tonight for the team competition. They come home with 128 points tonight. The Super Speedway Cup South Rebel comes home second tonight with 111 points, only beating out their associate team, the Super Speedway Cup North Union, by 1 point. They came home with 110. Crossed Out Motorsports fourth place tonight with 105 points. Last Lap Motorsports comes home fifth place tonight with 103 points. Fifth out of sixth place in the teams for our points leader. That's going to chop away some of their points lead for sure. And the RSR Outlaw Trucks team comes home sixth place tonight with 83 points. Looking at the point standings as they stand right now after tonight's event, the Last Lap Motorsports guys, they lose 7 points and have a 13-point lead over the Super Speedway Cup North Union. The Dark Horse Racing team continues to cut away at their deficit, and they are a definite threat for the title now, only 31 points out of the championship lead at an even 1,000 points. The Crossed Up Motorsports guys, 93 points. In fourth place, Super Speedway Cup South Rebel, 185 points out in fifth. The RSR Outlaw Trucks team, 287 points out in sixth. Twisty Motorsports sits 344 points out in seventh, and the RSR Midnight Thunder guys, having none of their drivers show up here tonight after Chad Cole picked up the victory last week at Las Vegas, 548 points out in eighth place. So that is what we are looking at for results in point standings heading into, yes, Talladega Super Speedway next week. Kyle, that's going to be a great one. What do you think we can expect next week?
Yeah, if it's anything like we saw today, you're going to see a lot of excitement, a lot of side-by-side action. This is actually my first time broadcasting the NASCAR Truck Series here, so definitely a different experience. These trucks look really good, really fast. So I'm expecting some great things heading into Talladega. But this race here at Darlington, only 4 cautions. Definitely much better than what I have ever hoped for here tonight.
A very entertaining and very exciting race here at the Darlington Raceway, and we now have 3 solid championship contending teams heading into Talladega next week. That is going to do it here from us here at ETV Live here for the Darlington Raceway. The ETV Live Radio 150 at Darlington Raceway taking place here tonight. For the guys behind the scenes, Jerry Wolf, our series director, John Wessling, the man on the cameras. For Kyle Lent, my broadcast partner here next to me, my name is Kyle Young. Thank you for joining us here tonight for the ETV Live Team Series. We hope to see you back next week at Talladega. You do not want to miss that race. Good night, and we'll see you next week.